Proceeding to clock. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll call this meeting to order and like to remind everybody that today is Thursday, 6th of June. It is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. There's been much going on across the Atlantic and much to be thankful for. But just like to remind everybody, this meeting of the Cape Cod Gateway Airport Commission is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30 Alpha, Section 20. I must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make your presence known. You're it?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Chairman Griffin,
Here.
Vice Chairman Flores,
Here.
Clerk Weil,
Here.
Commissioner Beerworth is not present, Commissioner Bailey,
Here.
Commissioner DeGeorge,
Here.
Commissioner Geo,
Here.
and Yarmouth Rep. Christine Greeley.
Here.
Thank you all. Can you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, there is no Willa business, and that's going to require us to enter an executive session. So pursuant to MGL 30 Alpha, let's see where that. As Chair of the Airport Commission, I move to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30 Alpha, subparagraph 21A2, to discuss strategy with respect to contract negotiations with the airport manager, as a discussion in open session may be detrimental to the bargaining position of the Airport Commission. This meeting will reconvene in open session after the executive session. Is there a second, please?
So a second.
Okay, we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Chairman Griffin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Flores,
Yes.
Clerk Weil,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner DeGeorge,
Yes.
Commissioner Geo.
Yes.
We are in executive session at 4:03 p.m.
Good to go. Thank you very much. Okay, we have returned to open session. The first item in the agenda is COM 0424-5.
Can we do a roll call?
We
I
did.
did it. I did it, sorry.
To convene an open session?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we need another
While
roll?
we're redoing.
Because he's got to record
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Would you call the roll, please? We
Sure.
have left executive session. We are now returning to open session.
Okay, thank you. Chairman Griffin,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Flores,
Yes.
Clerk Weil,
Yes.
Commissioner Beerworth is not here, I'm sorry. Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner DeGeorge.
Yes.
Commissioner Geo.
Present.
Okay, we're back. The first item
Yarmouth
on this.
Representative Greeley also is here.
Oh, yeah, Yarmouth representative is with us.
That was a vote, though, that wasn't a
Sorry.
roll.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
0424-5, this is approval of a contract agreement by the town of Barnstable and the per MGA blah, 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 blah. I didn't really mean that, but I'm pleased to announce that we have come to the structure of an agreement with the airport manager. She will be remaining with us for quite a while. And, but pending the drafting of the actual contract, I move that we table this till the 25th, our full meeting on the 25th. Is there a second? All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, where are we here? Announcements, this is getting near the end of the trail for me, but we've got more to go before the end of the month, which is great. Any other announcements from commissioners? Okay, we're going to take a break because we're going to go into new business, and that'll be the briefing on the strategic plan. Anybody want to take a break before we get into this?
Yeah, I'll take a break, but I'll also.
Yeah, we'll
Need to hook up this.
reconvene at
How do we do it?
2:35.
Cable or is that-
You had your
Yes,
attachment.
you're right,
Yeah.
you're right, thank you.
If not, we have a cable that we can.
And we'll reconvene in 5 minutes or so on the 5-year strategic plan model for the Cape Cod Gateway Airport. We are pleased that this went the way it did.
Thank you.
Entering into COM 0624-01, this is a briefing on the development of a 5-year strategic plan model for the Cape Cod Gateway Airport. And where's our, oh, here she comes. We'll wait for Katie, I didn't realize she is. And we're gonna turn this presentation over to Commissioner Gio, who is well skilled in this endeavor, and he's going to make a presentation to all of us. Okay.
All right. So, Joe and Norm, you already have copies of this, right, from when we did the briefing in the subcommittee?
Norm does,
Norm does.
just Norm.
I don't have it with me, but.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I may be short one.
We can share.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's easy enough.
I apologize for that.
I'll share.
I discounted.
I'll look over your shoulder.
Yeah, I'll look here. Put it in the middle. We're good.
I'll share with John. Here we go. We're good. You can slide that way if you need to.
I'm wearing
I
5
don't
kids,
need
we
this
had to
one.
learn how to share.
I've got one to starboard here, so you can slide that to port.
Slide this one.
Okay, and now I just need to connect. We need to change that to the HDMI.
Yeah, I think that's how we figured it out last
Yeah.
time. I think you just slide it up from below, Matt, yeah.
Thanks.
Oops.
I love how technology works.
Murphy's in the room.
No, shut the, no, I was gonna say hit PC down below.
No, it's
No.
HDMI.
Okay.
It may be 3.
There's only 3 of them, so
Yeah.
we're gonna get there eventually.
When I plugged it in, I looked to see if there was a number on there, and there wasn't. So I didn't know which HDMI port it was.
Wasn't that one?
Ah, wasn't that
Well,
one?
you know what?
What are we missing?
Let me see what's going on here.
Is this wireless?
Mm-hmm.
I feel
No.
No, no,
Wait.
wait.
Oh, there it is.
I felt good about it.
Waiting for it.
Uh,
Okay, now I just have to have, there it is. Show it up there. Come on, puppy. It says it's connected.
Ready to connect. At least happy when someone else has problems with technology, not just me.
We had this problem last time too.
Mhm.
Took a second before it finally hit.
My godsons came to visit from Florida yesterday. I should have had one come here to help us out.
I think we had that conversation last time too.
He's only
didn't we?
6 years old, right?
Well, they're 14, 13, and 11.
Yeah.
They'd have this right down.
He's an expert.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a culture they grow up in, we're adoptees.
Yeah, I don't know
Oh,
why.
there it is, it says it's connected.
Yeah, but then it drops
And
back
then
again.
drops
This happened last time too, and it's, there it goes. I think it's working now.
Ready to connect.
Well,
Give it a second. You'll get it. Before, we'll do it again.
Something needs to be rebooted.
Yeah, you rebooted.
I think what's happening is I'm hitting duplicate display before the connection actually happens, and that's what resets it, so I'm gonna leave it alone this time until it actually connects. Let's display.
You see, I got ahead of the game after the meeting.
you got it?
If this doesn't work,
I didn't
we
want
can go to
Mark
the
to think
cable.
I'm sloughing off.
Yeah.
We can run, it might even reach that distance.
Do you think it would?
It'll be close.
Or we can move the screen up a little bit.
Do you have an HDMI plug?
I do not have an HDMI plug. I would need
You have it.
a USB-C.
We have that.
Talking of one-liners.
Try one more time, like,
Okay.
adapter.
Check.
Sort of reminiscent of Tom Lehrer's old song, "Do Math." Are you current flying? You know.
I will be next week.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't been out since March. Was shuffling planes around, and we're selling one, and
What are you selling?
our 172.
Mhm.
We're buying a Vashon Ranger, which is a
Ooh,
big sport,
oh, really?
but it's got a 100-horse Continental engine in it.
Is that an O200, just like the
Yeah.
old?
Yeah. And full glass panel.
Oh, nice. It was a
To
two-seat,
challenge all us old people.
2 seats?
Yep. It'll carry both of us. It's got a pretty good useful load.
Oh, is it high wing, low wing, what's a high wing? Side by side, or
Yeah, side by side.
the glass panel?
Everything.
You know, last year when the gang was out here for the show, I flew that Beta,
Yeah, yeah.
and it'd take a while to get used to, you've got all that data right there. But when you look at it, it kind of look, what?
Katie, when you present
It's
onto the
overload.
screen, how do you do it? You put
Put a
a,
flash
The
drive.
stuff that, our 182,
I have one in there if you
You
want
you put a
it.
flash drive, but then how do you advance the slides?
nothing like this.
I do it
but
from here.
Pretty elaborate
Oh.
avionics.
You wanna do that?
packaging.
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
All right, so here,
And I spent
Let
the
me give you
first
the
2
flash
hours
drive.
on it, trying to figure out how to turn stuff off.
Yeah.
Because if you,
I don't know.
because God help you if you set it, and it, and then you get locked into it.
I flew up to Minuteman.
I guess we could just stick that in there too. We got-
Well, right in the
I
last
didn't know
couple
you
of
had
years.
mouse.
Here comes that, really.
On the left?
Well, I think I pre-thought of this.
You know the people up there?
But,
They're good, man.
oh, yeah.
It's McPherson?
Donnie McPherson, yeah, I've known him for decades.
Oh.
Did you
good.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that, I've known
He
him
wouldn't
for,
know me from Adam,
no, I've known him for
but,
decades,
yeah,
but,
they've certainly changed that place.
oh, yeah. Well, the Boston QB hangar meets there.
Yeah,
They've got a, Donnie gave, set up one of his tea hangers there that's a clubhouse for them.
I don't think we're quite gonna make it.
It's okay, I can move.
We'll quite move the screen now.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
Careful, your foot, yeah, if you're gonna port at the back or plug in here.
Almost. It's okay.
you can still move it a little bit forward, Matt.
Yeah.
I know it's
Yeah.
on the right side.
yeah, the Cape Cod Herald Club, no, I mean the Cape Area Pilots.
Yeah.
had a
They just
meeting
had,
at
You may want-
last
Yeah.
night,
they gave
standing room only,
really,
PC.
scholarships and,
yeah.
There we go, there we go.
Yay.
All right, thank you, everyone.
That's how they used to have hot dam. How's a hot dam?
so Jeff Bauer would have been there doing so you were there?
Yeah,
Anyway,
great presentation.
great. Well, Jeff and Sheila and I go way back. Sheila's father.
There we go, okay.
was an
All right,
amazing
so,
guy. Okay.
Again, thanks for your patience. This is a briefing on the strategic planning model that the subcommittee is proposing that we use to develop our strategic plan. So if the commission is in acceptance of this model, the next step would be to go forward with the actual planning itself. All right, so this is called the MVP strategic planning model. And the model is different from other strategic planning models because it ties in mission, vision, and philosophy into the actual plan itself. So what this proposes is that in order to have effective strategic planning, you need a set of concepts that forms the context within which decisions are made. So we're just not going off in all different directions saying, oh, let's do this, let's do that. Squirrel. If decisions are not developed within the greater context of purpose, direction, and value set, then we end up with random outcomes rather than outcomes by design. So it requires a common belief amongst all of us of what the organization is about, where is it going, and how is it going to behave along the way. And that is what mission, vision, and philosophy represents. So here are the critical elements in successful strategic planning. We need a set of guiding principles that maintains the focus on where we're going, why we're going, and how we're going to behave, and that creates the common fabric for the finished cloth that becomes our intended future state. Agreeing to a set of behaviors we all subscribe to prevents downstream conflict, and more importantly, it creates legitimacy for us to challenge each other if we're going off course in terms of how we're behaving and how we're conducting ourselves. So, we need goals derived from the guiding principles. Each goal needs tangible, measurable actions to accomplish the goal, and those are called objectives. Goals and objectives are often used interchangeably, but they really are two different things. They serve two different purposes. Goals are long-term. They help us move forward towards our future state. They're broadly defined, but they're specific enough so that we know when we've achieved them. Rather than objectives are very specific, they're measurable, and objectives work together to accomplish a specific goal. So, the overarching guiding principles, long-term goals, specific measurable objectives, a financial perspective, and then periodic reviews and course corrections, because there's no such thing as a perfect plan. We chart out what we think we're going to do, but then as we move forward, we run into obstacles, we have to make adjustments and variations, and so on. So concept confusion. We see mission and vision statements all the time, right? You see them in corporate offices, nonprofits. I've even seen them in hotels and restaurants behind the hostess station about talking about what they believe their world should be like. Value statements or philosophy statements, you don't see that as commonly as you see mission and vision. And they're usually not confused. A value statement or a philosophy statement, by its title, you know what's in it. They're true to purpose, they express the organization's belief, and they're unambiguous. Right? The title tells you what the contents are. But mission and vision are more nebulous, and they're constantly confused. Some mission statements are actually vision statements, and vice versa. So the statements have to be true to their purpose because each one serves a critical role in the strategic planning process. So if you think about it, if your vision statement, which is where you're heading, is actually your mission statement, why you exist, then where you're really going? You're going nowhere. Okay, so this is very, very important that we get this down. The mission statement is why we are here, right? It's our purpose for existing. Our vision statement is where are we headed? What do we want to achieve in the future? And what are we going to look like when we get there? And then the philosophy statement is what we value, what are our beliefs about our organization, our people, our customers, how should we behave? Any questions so far on that? Okay. So, here's a little test. Based on what we just learned, your mission statement is why you exist, your vision statement is where you're going, your philosophy statement is how we behave. Is this a mission statement or a vision statement?
Mission statement.
Does that describe why this organization exists, or does it describe what it wants to become?
It's a mission statement.
Okay, so I heard become. What did you say, Brad?
Is that the mission statement?
So a mission statement would be why we exist.
Okay. Well, then it's a vision statement.
Yeah, because it's future in nature, right? It's what we want to become, right?
Yeah.
It's future.
It's being used as a mission statement by American Standard. They have a vision statement, and they're using it as their mission statement.
It's mission. Mission.
That first sentence is mission, right? Home Depot is the home improvement business. But then what does it do?
Goes into vision.
It goes into their goal, which is part of their vision. They use it as their mission statement. Does that talk about why they exist or where they're going?
Well, they exist.
Why they exist, that's a mission statement. That's a vision statement from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
It's a vision.
Yeah, it says mission,
I know, but it's a vision.
but it's a vision statement, right? That's Dell's mission statement.
That's common confusion between the two.
Yeah, right.
It always happens no matter where you go.
Yeah.
That's a vision.
That's a vision. To create a future, gives it away right there, right? And GM uses it as their vision statement. They got that right. I think this is the last one.
One of the few things.
This is why they exist or where they're going.
It's like a vision.
Yeah, American Red Cross, that's their mission statement, and they got it right. So you can see by this that it's very important in the strategic planning model, if you're going to tie things to these statements, that you get the statements right. Okay. So another critical misstep is that these statements do not tangibly touch the day-to-day, what people do day in and day out. They're nice statements that hang on the wall, but how does it change how I'm going to do my job today? Okay? There needs to be a nexus between these statements and what people in the organization do every single day. Does everyone see how what they do traces directly back to the mission of the organization and the vision and moving it towards its vision? And this is a great example that you're all familiar with, right? So back in May of '61, President Kennedy addressed a joint session of Congress, and he set the vision. I believe this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before the decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth. That's a vision statement. He set that in 1961. I'm going to play this now. This is his address to Rice University in September of 1962. And what he does in this address is he takes 50,000 years of human development and condenses it down to a 50-year period. in order to illustrate the pace of progress that man has made.
We meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them.
Excuse me for a second, sorry. Here we go, sorry. We're having a little, screen resolution issue here, but here we go. All right.
Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait, if this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything. It is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
Pretty inspirational, huh?
Yeah.
He talked about that Apollo, the Saturn V rocket before it was even built, he described it,
Yeah.
right? That's setting a vision for the future that inspires people. Sorry. And so that's what we're after, that's what we're trying to create. We can jump back to where we were. Okay, so now, later that year, President Kennedy's visiting NASA down at Cape Canaveral, right? And by then, every employee at NASA knew what their vision was that they were trying to obtain. And so as he's being given the tour around the facility, he sees a janitor sweeping the floor, and he goes up to him and he says, "Hi, I'm Jack Kennedy, what do you do here?" And the janitor said, "Well, Mr. President, I'm helping you put a man on the moon." That's connecting your concepts, your vision, mission, and philosophy right down to what you do day to day. And that's what you want to create in your strategic plan. Make sense? Okay. So this is what the model looks like, right? So we start off with a mission in mind. We create the vision, and we derive goals from the vision statement. And then for each goal, we set the objectives, and our philosophy governs our behavior. But with each goal we establish, we have to ask ourselves 3 questions. Is this in line with our mission? Will it move us towards our vision? And does it reflect the values and beliefs in our philosophy? And if you can't say yes to all 3, it does not come into the strategic plan. And that's what keeps us on course and focused. So, issues are handled within a unified MVP context. It ensures problem resolution in a way that moves us forward in an agreed upon manner and an agreed upon strategy. It creates ownership in the outcome and instills excitement in the organization as we accomplish what we set out to accomplish and we successfully handle the bumps along the way. And it aligns our goals at the strategic level with the objectives in our business plans and the performance outcomes in individual performance plans. So you can bring this right down to each employee's individual performance plan. So this is what it would look like, right? So at the strategic planning level is your mission, vision, philosophy, and goals. Your business plan are the objectives. And then the individual performance plans are performance outcomes that you would put in an individual's performance plan that's tied to accomplishing the objectives, which is tied to accomplishing the goals, which is moving us towards our vision. Not everybody is going to have the same performance outcomes in their individual performance plans. It depends what part of the pie that they're working on. But somehow, in some way, we can tie everybody's performance plan to something that we're trying to accomplish. And that gives them that line of sight. So goals are derived from the vision. So when we define our vision, we have to ask ourselves, where are we headed? What do we aspire to achieve? And we want to make sure our vision is inspirational. And what will we look like when we get there? And then the next question is, how do we get there? And that's the goals, which establishes the long-term actions that we want to take. It moves us towards our vision. Again, broadly defined, but specific enough to know when we've achieved them, whereas objectives are specific, measurable, and they work together to accomplish the goal. Each goal should have several objectives. Some of the objectives may be linear, meaning you have to accomplish one objective before you can move on to the next, or they may be able to be accomplished in parallel. But the accomplishment of all the objectives should result in accomplishing the goal. And then objectives, you may have seen this before, we use the SMART acronym. They need to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed.
Yes.
So ensure that the goals and objectives are aligned with the model. Again, we ask ourselves these 3 questions. Is it in line with our mission? Will it move us towards our vision? And does it reflect the values and beliefs defined in our philosophy? If we can't say yes to all 3, it does not come in. This is what the Alaska Center for UAS Integration's I call it a one-pager, looks like, okay? So it has the mission statement here, it has the vision statement here, and here's their philosophy. They have 18 goals in this, and then here are the specific objectives that are aligned under each goal. And then we take it a step further. I know I'm really rushing through this, but if you get to the actual goal, so here's goal 2, recruit and develop talent to run infrastructure. Now we have the objective, 2.1, continue to pull from man expertise, 2.2, create a recruiting platform. And it has tasks underneath each objective. It breaks down the objective into specific actions that need to be taken. And then you have a target start date and a finish date with lead resources. And this is really important. Success criteria. It's what I call definition of done, right? This is how you know you've accomplished the objective, when you have met this criteria.
Yeah, we always call it indicators of success.
Sure.
How do we know they're successful?
Right, right. And then there's a dashboard that comes along with this model that's tied to all of this. So 30 seconds at a glance, here's all 18 goals. You can tell which ones are in trouble, which ones are on time, and which ones are on the edge. And if you are concerned about it, you can click on any of them, and it'll take you to that particular specific goal with the objective, so you can find out, okay, here's the problem over here, objective status. Not started, it's late, right? So you can find out where the problem is. And that helps you keep your finger on the pulse day to day on how we're doing. So next step is we need to validate mission, vision, and philosophy statements. In fact, I think last time we talked about it, we don't have a philosophy statement, right?
No.
And do we have both mission and vision?
We kind of do, but we needed to work on it, is
Right.
what we said.
So we have to revisit what we have right now for mission and vision, and we have to develop philosophy statements. And then we have to determine who the stakeholders are that will be involved in goal and objective development. We have to develop tasks under each objective with financials and who the lead resource would be. That would then come back to the full commission for review and feedback. Then the feedback would be incorporated into the plan, and the final would be submitted to the commission for approval, and then we implement the plan. And that's it. That was I usually do this in 8 hours, so.
That was the speed version.
That was very speedy, that was
Yeah.
35 minutes, if that.
Just a couple of observations and comments first. In terms of when we are developing our mission and our vision, if we're really gonna have a true strategic plan, we have to engage as many employees as we possibly can, because everyone has to buy into this.
Yep, and we
So there
spoke
need-
about that too.
So there needs to be, some kind of a global meeting that everybody initially hears the first pitch, couple with them individual separate charrettes almost that you basically bring in by department.
Right.
What it is that they believe we are from a vision perspective, coupled with a mission, because this takes a while. I mean, we have to massage that so that we're all on the same page, so that as that janitor at
Sure.
JFK said, hey, what am I doing? I'm bringing a man to the moon.
Right,
Everybody has to be saying the same thing, because, you look at companies that win the Baldwin Award every year, which are your #1 companies on the universe. You go to all, I've been to many of them, you go to the elevators and they'll have the mission statement and the goals. Everybody knows what it is, but more importantly than us as the board or you as management telling employees what it is, they've bought into it from the get-go. If they don't buy into it,
Right,
it doesn't happen.
right.
yeah,
That's my
Yep.
point.
yep,
So that, and that is a process that takes time, that takes effort, doesn't happen overnight. Some people are gonna look at, strategic plan, those are things you just do every 5 years and
Yeah.
they collect us and nobody does anything with them.
Yeah.
And I think we've all probably been part of that kind of a strategic plan, at least I have,
Right.
in my own experiences. So my point being is that we have to be sure that we engage as many people as possible from whatever level or whatever position they hold, to buy into whatever we ultimately determine will be where we want to go from a vision, philosophy, as well as mission. And then, you'll have specific goals for specific departments, ways of improving. And again, I think one of the key things is that everybody puts down goals, but for me, is that they have to be measurable and they have to show indicators of success.
right,
With a timeline,
Yep.
or else they go on forever.
Yep.
Oh, we're working on that, well, what does that mean? So-
get it done.
Yeah, I
Get her
developed,
done.
I developed this model originally
Same.
as part of a labor management effort after the controller strike in '81 when the new union formed, to get us down the road of collaboration rather than confrontation.
Competition, sure.
Yeah.
Most strategic plans are variations of the theme, but this is an excellent presentation in terms of where it is that we want to be. And all of the key elements are in there, so if we follow this and really, first of all, we have to buy into it philosophically. This is something that we really want to do.
Yeah.
Right,
This isn't easy.
no,
This is hard
Yeah.
work. But once you get over that mountain, if you will, you get to the apex of that mountain, then, it's really, we're really cranking even more so.
yeah.
We become that much more effective and that much more a professional, if you will. in
Yeah, and
terms
I
of
think
who
the
we are and what
time
we're
is
about.
now to do something like this, because we've
Timing is perfect.
advanced through most of our plan goals that we have had for the past 5 years. And we've achieved a lot. All right, where are we going? Where's the next step?
Well, Barnstable Airport is no longer your father's Oldsmobile, as they used to say.
It's
We're
not.
now the gateway. So what
That's
is, we're very different
Yeah.
than we were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Right,
Well, I can tell you, having sat at this table for slightly over a quarter of a century now, and Sue's been around an awfully long time, you can see,
but she's younger than you.
I was gonna say, she doesn't look like she's been around that long.
I know she's taking that as a compliment.
she's been around the airport
She's
for
experienced.
quite a long, yeah, she's well experienced. And anyway, that's why I stayed single for 71 years. You can see from this that over the last quarter of a century, that there was a time when the airport commission was kind of a casual group of people that got together and did things, and it was good, but it was a much, and then it had its ups and downs, but over the past, I don't know, several years since maybe when, you know, starting, not specifically, but around the time Bud came in, you can see the way this whole situation has evolved, and it has been, and this is a huge next step to go from where we were and where you guys can go.
Yep.
It's, but you can look at this, it's not easy.
It's working.
So, that said, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this strategic planning model for use in developing the Cape Cod Gateway Airport strategic plan.
I will second that.
Any further discussion?
Well, I can tell you that I've worked in a lot of organizations and a lot of them have this. I actually worked in one that actually believed in their mission, vision, and values.
Such a rarity.
Yeah, and it starts with the commission, and it goes right into management. And the hardest part of it is when you find people who haven't bought into it.
That's you, exactly.
Are gonna enforce it.
Right.
But it was the last thing I ever wanted to do in my career was to end up at a Fortune 500 company, and I did, that followed this stuff, and it was actually fun.
Sure.
Sure.
But you nailed it, and John, you said the same thing, inclusion is everything.
Yeah.
Because if you, change that comes from without is a threat, change that comes from within is inspiration, right?
Exactly.
So if
You engage.
if people are involved in developing this, then they own it, right? And they will protect it, and they'll be excited about it when they start accomplishing things.
Well, a lot of people don't know why they're there.
Yeah,
This helps them to know.
that guy knew he was getting them in on the moon.
Yeah, he knew what he did was critical to NASA's success
We'd
because it
like to
kept the
think-
place clean.
We'd like to instill too, with the people out here who are not our employees, that they sort of share, even though their companies may have individual visions, that they are very well of ours as a whole.
That's an excellent point.
And that's, I think, where the stakeholders come in.
Right.
Because they're gonna be critical to the path that we're creating for ourselves, because they have a vested interest in what
I
happens.
mean, Hertz and Budget have to buy into what it is that we represent. Kennedy Studio has to say, yeah, I really believe in that, so that when they have customers coming in or they have to service, whatever the case might be, they philosophically, in the
Right.
back of their mind, they think, we're all thinking the same way, if you will.
Yeah, the desk agents and the terminal
Yeah.
people here, each company has got its objectives,
Right,
but on the overall picture, they've got to understand that this is one world here. Inside, and this inside the fence and to some degree
Well,
outside.
we don't have as much work to do at the staff level as people may think, because I'm a person who, I encounter a lot because of, I fly out of here, and the club I'm involved with is involved around here. And a lot of the people I run into have no idea who I am, they wouldn't know at all. And the way they react to the everyday person started from what these people have instilled, so it's pretty impressive.
Yep.
That one pager there, that came out of a strategic planning charrette up in Anchorage, where we brought in people from all across the state. EMS, helicopter operators, cargo operations, airlines, Alaska Native chiefs, military, all of it. And it's amazing when you get all those people in the same room. One of the concerns that was raised by the Alaska Native chief was that, we depend on being able to afford the passenger seats on the aircraft that come in and out of our villages. 83% of the villages in Alaska have no road access. They're dependent on aviation. And those passenger seat prices are set and subsidized by cargo. If you start flying cargo in an unmanned aircraft, the prices of the seats are going to go up and we won't be able to afford to travel. That was an unintended consequence that we didn't even think about when we were in such a hurry to get these unmanned aircraft out there. So that had to be factored in to the strategic plan. And that's the importance of making sure that you've got the right set of stakeholders involved that give you a complete perspective of all the issues. Okay,
Very
go for a vote.
Need a vote, yes.
Okay, well, we have this on the table we've had a presentation. Any other comments? All in favor, would you signify aye, raise your hand please.
Aye.
Opposed? Looks unanimous, thank you very much, good presentation.
Great,
Excellent.
thank you.
Great job, Mark.
Overall, I'd say we had a pretty productive afternoon here.
Very much so.
I think so. We did, so thanks to everybody. Any comments from the commission? Not reasonably expected by the chair, any matters? I don't think so. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
This has been a very, very productive meeting is adjourned.